Welcome back. Well, we had a viewer write in and ask, can you please explain on the show why the Trump administration seems to be so cozy with Argentina right now? So we wanted to bring in Arlan Suderman for some insight. Arlan, the White House announcing the $20 billion bailout for Argentina in September. Argentina then turned around, temporarily suspending their export tax and sold beans to China. That frustrated farmers. Now this week, President Trump talking about a plan to buy beef from Argentina. So what is going on? Why are we seeing this allegiance between the White House and Argentina?
Everything's a game of 3D chess, and at the center of it is China. So when he does something with one country, there's probably implications for China there somewhere. China had been cozying up to Argentina, trying to, leverage their way into China to obligate Argentina to be supportive of China and allow them to have influence on Argentina. And so President Trump saw an opportunity here to be able to put a split between Argentina and China and have it on our side, so to speak, in that battle. And so that's how we got into the spat over U.S. beef. Now, from the standpoint of what he did in enlarging the exports coming here from Argentina, I would encourage beef producers to calm down a little bit, because we're talking about a 2-day supply. 80,000 metric tons of beef equal to about 2 days worth of what we produce in the United States per day. But on the other hand, those who advised President Trump made some big time mistakes in not filling him in on how the cattle markets work. This isn't like the pharmaceutical companies where he can talk to them about lowering their prices at which they sell products. The ag markets are the closest to a pure supply and demand market, a free market as you can get. So the marketplace makes these decisions on price based on supply and demand. And right now we're looking at record demand in the United States at a time when supply is down. In fact, the spread between production and demand is at about a 20-year gap right now in the beef industry in the United States. And that's why we have high beef prices.
Well, I mean, you alluded to it. I mentioned it earlier. Soybean farmers are frustrated right now by what's happening. Now cattle ranchers are frustrated now, that's putting it mildly, about what's happening. But at the end of the day, do they have a right to be, Arlan? Is there a reason to be frustrated with what we're seeing between the U.S. administration and Argentina?
Well, I think there's plenty of blame to go around, and nobody is innocent in this. If we look at Argentina and what they did during their tax holiday back at the end of September, 1st of October, that simply shows how competitive they are with their cheap currency versus U.S. And we need to recognize and acknowledge U.S. is no longer the low-cost producer in the world for soybeans, and look for alternative to develop alternative markets, which the industry is doing. But this has been coming for a long time. I've been warning industry for the last 4 or 5 years that we were going to lose China. And so this is just evidence of that direction. Now, President Trump's actions may have sped up that cycle a little bit, but I was talking to our people in Brazil this past week and saying, okay, how long has China been investing in your infrastructure and your agriculture there? And they said, the past 2 decades. That's exactly what I've been saying. They've been working on this for the last 20 years. And the rare earth minerals issue, China's been working on for the last 30 years. So all of this is a culmination of what they've been working on for decades. President Trump may have sped up the end of it, but we were getting within a few years of being at this point anyway. Fortunately, we're working on the biofuel angle to create demand. We're working on markets in Africa and other places of the world. We just wasn't quite ready to give up China when this happened.
Arlan Suderman, StoneX, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Well, coming up, where could the future of yields, where could those come from? One well-known farmer who's known for growing big yields, he actually thinks those yield gains will come below the ground, not above the ground. We have that in Yield Builders next.